Hey everyone. I hope y'all are well. Listen, we're still getting things together over here. I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited every night, I'm excited for y'all here to join this convo. Gonna get Myeoshe in here in just a second. I'm gonna type in this comment or pin this comment so y'all know what we're talking about. Or who we're talking with, shall I say. I hope you guys had great weeks and weekends. Let's see if we get this together. Yoshi. If I can spell your name right, girlfriend. This will go a lot faster. Okay, so send this. Pin comments. Okay. Oops. The right one. Let's see. Here, get her in here. Scoot back from all of this. Hey, girlfriend.
Hey,
How are you?
I can't wait. I keep seeing words in front of me. How do I move that?
You can turn off your comments. Those are everybody. That's everybody that's joining.
Oh, okay. Okay, how do
Well, I
I
guess I
turn?
have to turn them off.
Yeah, please.
That's what that would be. Well, the thing is with that is we want people to comment and join in with us. So let me see. Y'all, I'm gonna turn off the comments just for a second so we can see
Oh,
Myeoshe.
I just wanted to see if I needed to remove myself because it looked weird, but you can turn back on the comments.
Well, I mean, we can turn it back on. Okay. Here's the thing. So, y'all, those of you that are new, welcome. Thank you. I'll turn back on the comments. Those of you that are old, go Chiefs. It's 17-10. I didn't even know they were playing tonight. Clearly,
Woo!
I have not been
Go
on it. I've been
Chiefs!
doing some other stuff
Woo!
today all day long. Listen, that's where it's
It's
at.
always busy.
I don't care about any other football team. If you're not a Chief, don't really care.
Yeah, for real.
That's how we roll in these parts. Fellow Chiefs fan across the screen here.
Yes.
So, welcome. Hi.
Thanks for having me back. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate you.
Oh,
I
no
really do.
problem. You know you're my girl.
Um, Listen, and we're gonna talk about some good stuff. You know, you my girl. This is my sister, y'all, from another mister.
Yeah, for real, for real.
um, welcome those of you that are joining for the first time. Those of you that are returning, welcome back. We're here at Love is My Currency. And we're going to continue on our conversation of talking about cutting off dead ends. I honestly don't know where this is going to go. And I say that because I typed up these questions, and although I always have to have a plan. If you know me, you know I'm a planner. I'm like, we got to have something in the event. But I kind of feel like it might just go another way, you know?
Wow.
Just because I'm going to let you like chat. I feel like you got something you need to say. I
Oh.
don't know. So, but I'm going to lead with the questions. But if
Right.
it goes somewhere else. You guys
Yeah.
just go on the ride with us. But the topic that we've been on for the last, I don't know, month or so has been cutting off cutting the dead ends. And those of you that have been watching, you know what this analogy is about, or metaphor. I really need to go back to school because in this moment I just forgot what what both of those were. I mean, not what they were, but to differentiate between the two. But anyway, talking about dead ends of like your hair, when you have dead ends on your hair, they split into two. And if you've ever seen it, and it literally can damage the rest of your hair. It will like rip all the way up and snap it at the root of your hair. And you leave those dead ends long enough, you'll be bald head. And nobody wants that. But when you're concerned about your length and your growth, and you're like, man, my hair's been growing. I look cute. I look fly. you don't want to cut them off
Absolutely.
because you like, oh, this looks good, the length. But if you're honest and you really look at it, you know when someone needs, because it's really thin and very
Mm-hmm.
ragged at the bottom and it looks like trash. So, um, what? Oh, sorry, my mom is on here. Hey, mom. She
Hey,
is.
hey, Miss Renee.
um, so they look like trash, and you do need to cut them off. But we sacrifice the health of our hair for the length because we're like, oh, this is cute. It gives us a certain
Right.
look, and as that came up to me, I believe the Holy Spirit brought that up to me because he was like, how many things have you been um, unhealthy about or that are unhealthy in your life that you have allowed to stay
Mm,
because it looks good either to you or to someone else or you're just familiar with it. But
mm,
if you're honest with yourself, you're like, yo, this has got to go. You're asking for all these things. There's these places you want to go, there's these things you want to accumulate, there's people you want to help, but I can't get you there because you got some dead ends.
wow.
And I've noticed, especially in this year of my life, I have been coming to dead ends. And I don't mean, even if you want to think about it in terms of a cul-de-sac, I've been coming to dead ends where I can't even turn around.
Mm,
Because to go back would be literally to go back. And I'm like, I don't want to go back there. That makes no sense. So what do you do when you come to a dead end and you like, it's all houses in front of me. How am I supposed to move forward when there's no road?
right.
But I can't go back on the road that I just traveled. I see no way out. So we've been talking about that for like the last month and talking to different people. And then I've been giving kind of like my perspective and where I've been and things that I've noticed that have helped me with these dead ends that I
Mm,
absolutely have to face. And whether it's cutting them off of my hair or literally sitting in them and figuring out how am I going to make a road in between these houses or go through these houses or whatever to get to where I need to go. And so I have, and this all stems from the premise of this year talking about how, for love is my currency, our theme this year is love loves you too much to allow you to stay the same.
that's good.
You can't, love is like, cool, I accept you as you are. But if you want me to take you further and you want to go further in me, I can't allow these things, these dead things to keep plaguing your life or being in your life, even whether you like them or not. Because it hurts to cut these things off. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
It does.
it does.
Go ahead.
No, I'm totally agreeing with you. It really does. And it's so crazy. I believe this is divinely orchestrated because I think I told you this the other day when we were dialoguing that literally the spirit dropped in me and said, I was having a conversation because you and I know my life has definitely changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the future looked like. I no longer have a vision of what I had before.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different. Not saying that it doesn't look bright, but it's totally different. And literally, the word that dropped in my spirit was, "Blessed are the ones who believe without seeing." And I was like, "Wow,
Mm.
wow." And I'm like, what do you mean? Blessed are those who believe without seeing? Because literally, I have no vision of where I'm headed at all, and it kind of goes with trusting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
trusting your own instinct, and
Mm-hmm.
believing. And I think my thing is, my dead ends for me was fear.
Mm.
This year, I released fear. I have the only fear I have is of God. But as far as like the fear of my success, the fear of I literally this year have jumped off the cliff and closed my eyes and just said, allow it to be, just
Yeah.
soar. And that would be my dead end, is literally conquering fear. And I believe
Yeah.
that we all have that instinct of, we don't want to do this because we're scared to fail, we scared to, we scared that this business won't work, this relationship, this partnership, this, endeavor won't work. But why do we think like that when we don't even know what's headed? So how can
Right.
we even think of failing? So
Right.
that's been my intake this year. And on top of that, um, believing and trusting in God. don't want to go all the way religion, but that's just the truth of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Solely believing and trusting in God and believing about what He had told me and what He said, no matter of what I have lost.
Yeah.
And God told me to roll with the kingdom. It's gonna cost me something. Like
Listen.
people think that when you roll with the kingdom,
Listen.
it's easy. When you say yes to the calling and the purpose of your life, it's not easy. And I'm starting to understand that, in my own right. It's not easy. And I believe that's why David said, create in me a pure heart and renew a steadfast. And I don't
Right.
think we understand really what a steadfast spirit is. A steadfast spirit is long suffering. A steadfast spirit is perseverance, ambition, a steadfast is, can you hold weight? You
Right.
can't be a weak link rolling with the kingdom. You got to be able to hold that weight. And when I say weight, are you able to pick up your cross every day
Mm-hmm.
and be able to carry it,
Mm-hmm.
to the end goal of it? So I believe my dead ends for me was conquering fear and allowing myself to walk in faith over fear. So I
Yeah.
believe people we get this connotation of you're not being able to cut things off. But what if God cut it off for us? Then what? What
Listen.
if God cut it out for us? Literally, like, what if God cut it for you? Okay, you don't want to cut it. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut your dead. That's right. I'm not even gonna cut it. I'm gonna shave it. I'm gonna make you
Listen.
bald. I'm gonna make you start all over. That's the story for me. Forget your dead ends. You know what? You know what? You know what? I'm gonna give you
Whew.
a brand new look. Literally, I'm gonna
Listen.
revamp your whole life.
Oh, my days. Oh, man. Girl, you are speaking it. Yes, ma'am. Go
And
ahead. Keep going.
no,
I'm
I'm just
listening. I'm
for my
listening.
life. I believe that's what God has done for me. To speak of dead ends, I don't. For me, my story, God has not said, "Forget your dead ends. I need to revamp your whole life. I'm going to remove some things, and it's going to hurt you. Trust me, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
hurt you." To be transparent with you, this year, you were there with me. I lost my mother and my dad both unexpectedly, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that was a dead end for me.
Right.
I believe God literally said, like, you know how you go to the army and they be like, you can't have no hair, sit in this chair and I'm gonna give you a
Right.
brand new look. Even you not gonna even know what are you gonna
Right.
look like.
Yeah.
And it's a scary, don't get me wrong, it's a very scary feeling. It's a very awkward, eerie feeling, but it's so refreshing because I can't depend on nobody. When I
Right.
tell you I can't depend on nobody but him, literally nobody but him. And I believe sometimes God brings us to that crossroad where not only he said, I gave you too much gift, too much purpose. I can't let you decide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it this thing myself. Because if I don't, if I don't remove these people, if I don't take this away from you, if
Mm-hmm.
I don't, so many lives that's connected to you only is going to
Yeah.
perish. So
Yeah.
sometimes God just has to take the ring and then have to put you back out there. So I believe for me, God just gave me a whole new look. I don't have no hair, girl. No did it. No split ends. No did ends for me. I'm bald, bare, naked. Spirit,
Oh,
look, but
man.
spiritually, you get what I'm saying? Spiritually,
Yeah.
bald, naked, because He has revamped my whole life because He solely wants me to trust on Him. And not only that, He solely wants me to conquer my fears.
Yeah.
I have no fear. I have conquered death. I have stared death
And
face
listen.
to face. I have stared it. It had knocked me out, TKO'd me, but I have got back up and I have done it over and over again to the point where it's no fear. It's nothing but up from there. It's like, what more can I lose?
Mm-hmm.
But solely trusting in Him. I solely put
Mm-hmm.
all my eggs in His basket, no
Yeah.
longer my basket.
Yeah.
And I think coming to a crossroad of a dead end, I believe sometimes God just be like, nah, I gotta take the wheel on this one.
Listen, you just said, God, there's so much. This is why I said I don't even think we're gonna get to these questions because you said a lot in there, and I'm like, wait, I have follow up. And you brought Holy Spirit. We're just gonna say this right now. Come on in here. You know how I
Yes.
am with this. I want the Holy Spirit to come in, have your will, have your way, use us as vessels, speak to people, and let's talk about a subject and talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, and let it reach people's hearts and ears and souls, and let it be water. In Jesus' name,
Yeah.
amen.
Amen.
So you don't have to believe the same thing we believe on here.
Absolutely.
I welcome any and everybody, and I really don't care. This is just what I believe, what she believes. And listen, we can get this conversation going and do it all in love. That's what this whole thing is about. But you said some amazing things. And one of the things that I wanted to pull out to start with is you said, hold on, somebody put in here. First of all, the very first thing you said, blessed are the ones who believe without seeing.
Yeah.
That's faith. Literally, it's faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And it's so interesting. My pastor literally just preached on this Sunday. He said the opposite of faith is sight.
Mm.
And when you're in a space like where you're at a dead end, or God is like, I gotta and transform some things, you don't get to see everything. Like, you literally feel like you're in a room that is pitch black, and you like, whoa, I can't even see what's underneath my feet. I don't know if I'm near a cliff and I'm about to fall off this cliff. Right. I don't know if there's people in here with me. It's literally complete pitch black. But I have to trust what I heard, what I'm hearing tell me, whether it's move, take one step forward, step with your right, step with your left, stand still. I don't hear nothing. So should I just stay here? Should I do what somebody else says? But I think that is perfect when you're at a dead end, because I think that's one of the most important things to do, is to make sure that you, regardless of whether you can see or not, right, you turn this in, you tune this up and say, okay, what am I going to do? Am I still going to follow? Am I still going to listen to not only just listening to what's being said to me, but am I actually going to take action on that? Because it's a whole different thing. You can listen all day long, but if you don't take corresponding action, how can you walk into the blessings? The blessings may be in the dark, they may be in the light. I actually think they're in both. Right. Because you're learning to trust in the dark. Yeah. When he brings you to a place of where it's like, if you have trust issues, with which I know I did, and still do, I still work them out. I'm like, okay, God. And I've had to come to God and be like, I don't trust you at all. I don't trust that you're going to handle this right. Yeah. I think I'm going to get hurt, this, that, and the third. But what I realized is walking in this relationship with God, that he's like, I'm going to bring you to things. And as we experience these things together, as long as you don't leave me, you listen to me, I'm going to deepen your roots of trust. You just can't run away. My thing was always to run away. Like anything that like what you went through, I watched you go through, this is the 8th month. Yeah. Bump that, y'all. In 5 months, this woman had gone through something that most people in their lives wouldn't haven't experienced, like in years. But literally in a matter of months, like less than 5 months, her life, God said, not even life flipped upside. She's right. God shaved her bald. God, and he said, all right. And one thing, I literally watched you still move. You were like, I don't know what end is up. I don't know what way to go, but I know I can't sit down. I can't give up. And you literally put one foot in front of the other. So like you said, like you got TKO'd. I wouldn't even say that. I would say maybe you got your bell rung, but you didn't stop. Like, you didn't get knocked out. You literally were like, okay, even if, and that's one thing that I noticed too, if you want to talk about that, when that type of trauma hits your life, there's a period of like, you feel the pain initially, but then everything goes numb. And you just kind of like are on autopilot, like, I don't know what to do, but I know I got to get up and go do something. Like, because you're used to getting up and going, doing things. Right. So you just continue to do those things. And I think that's a protective mechanism of God. Because he's like, I can't let you feel all this right now. If I let you feel all this right now, it will kill you. Right. So there's like go ahead.
No, and you're exactly right. I mean, let's I know the Holy Spirit is going to change the whole subject. Literally, the day that I called you, the day that I text you, number one, let me just be clear. I love you so much. And I just want to say this live because you were there for me in my life from a time where I didn't know what was going on. Literally, I text you and said, my mother has transitioned. And I say the time that I text you from leaving the hospital to when we got to the house, you've been there from the day my mom transitioned till the day I was leaving my childhood home. And I just want to say thank you for helping me, walking me down the avenue and the journey of my mom's transition. And not only that, helping me with my dad. Um, during his transition and then helping me get through that. And still, you're still in my life and present and relevant. And I just want to say thank you. You're such a blessing in my life. I could have not done it literally without you. You were there and then I didn't ask you to come. You came on your own. And I know that was God sending you. You're totally an angel. You know what I mean? So I just want to thank you. Thank you for the conversations that I had the
Mm-hmm.
hard conversations. One of the things, me crying to you and saying like, dang, I have to walk my dad to heaven and I have to leave him there. You know what I mean? Like I literally had that conversation with you and I was crying, and the fact that you looking at me like you so strong, but I'm looking at you like your presence made me strong. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
your presence being there at the time of that dark hour, it really was a light for real in my life. And I just want to say thank you and I love you so much.
Girl, thank you. You were more of a
I love
blessing to me. You have
I
no
love you so
idea.
much. I love you so much. But I just wanted to say that live because people don't know, and I will always say you were literally a light in the darkest hour for me. So I just want to say thank you.
Girl, thank you. Like it was I can't take any credit for nothing. Like it was all God. And I say I didn't feel like I was a blessing, but you were such a blessing to me. You were more of a blessing to me in that time. At least that's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know could not, and I told you this before. I can't empathize with you because I have not been in that position. But to just be there in any sort of way, like it shocked me when you sent me that message. I was like, "What transition?" I'm like, I know what that means, but I
Right.
was like, she couldn't mean what I think she means. And then when you did, I was like, there's no other place to be but in your presence. Like I can't fathom because we spoke to your mom less than 24 hours and it was just such a big, it was unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, hold on. Can you hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, hold on. Okay, um you're lagging, sorry, on my end. Am I lagging on your end?
No.
Okay, good. All right, good. Now we're good. um, Sometimes Instagram is rude. Y'all, if we're being weird on your end, please let us know because that's happened in the past. It's not that way on our end. So please let us know. um, but you were such a blessing in that time, and even just being able to be there for you fed me more than, well, I can't say more than you, but I'm just saying thank you. I need to say thank you for even being vulnerable and allowing me to just be there in any capacity. Because I know that's not easy, especially like you are. You're not one that is open to every. You like I don't let everybody in my business. And I get that. Because listen, I say it all the time. Pac was so great when he said this: "Loose lips sink ships, and your
Mm-hmm.
ship will go down when you tell all your business to everybody."
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was an honor for God to even use me and to be there in any sort of capacity. And I thank you for trusting me with such a vulnerable place and space of where you were, and to even have the shortest relationship with your dad. Y'all, her dad is so dope. I mean, so dope. I was looking at the notes from when your dad was telling me stuff. I was taking notes and I was looking at that the other
Right.
day and I was like, man, this man is wise.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just an honor to even just be there, and I just want to say thank you for that, and I think for those of y'all that if anybody ever questions that, what love is my currency is, that's what it is. It's being there for someone regardless of what you think or where you are, whatever. Right. Like it wasn't about me. It was like, yo, my friend needs me. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if you did. I was just like, whatever, you just show up. And that's really what it is, and for you to come to that, literally watching you come to the end of a relationship, a physical relationship with a parent, with two parents, um, was, I don't even know if there's any words to describe, but if you want to share or talk about that and how where you are now with that, and what were some of the things that helped you with that, navigating that space?
Um, One of the things, and I don't know if I told you this, one of the things that God showed me, it's always bittersweet. I miss my parents wholeheartedly every day, literally. But it was a bittersweet moment. It had to happen for me to rise and elevate because in the midst of me moving and packing up my things, I remember going back and looking at pictures of me when I was a little girl, like fifth grade, sixth grade, and I remember seeing that little girl, and I remember literally remember how she felt so inadequate, so less than, low self-esteem.
Wow.
I remember what was going on at that time. And at that time, as a 35-year-old woman, I'm looking at this 5 or 6-year-old girl, and I'm looking at her, and I'm making amends with her because it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that
Mm.
bad,
Yeah.
back then. And it's not bad now. And looking at that little girl and apologizing to her, I literally was looking at every age and step and going back and looking at pictures. And I literally had to make amends and apologize to every age and stage in my life where I really was hard on myself and feeling inadequate, feeling less than, feeling unworthy, being hard on myself, thinking, I was ugly and all sorts of things, and really making amends with myself and apologizing to that young girl and saying like, you know what, you were
Yeah.
beautiful back then.
Yeah.
You were smart back then. Even going back and looking at some of the things I achieved when I was little, I used to be on an honor roll. Like sometimes we lose remembrance of who we used to be because
Yeah.
we go through childhood trauma and things have happened to us, and it kind of like take the precious moments away from us. And I remember going back and looking at these things and really apologizing to
Mm.
myself and really getting the nuggets that I need. It helped me realize why I speak, because every Black History at St. Francis Xavier Cabrini, I was the third, I was running third place, so it brought to remembrance. That's why you like to speak and you're not scared, because I was used to saying speeches. Going back and looking at my 12-year-old self, and I remember, being hard on myself, feeling inadequate, going into high school, sexually assaulted, just not feeling my best. And I just remember just apologizing to her and just like, wow, you made so many accomplishments from then until now.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would have been able to tell me that I would have been who I was today, and where
Yeah.
I'm headed. So literally, it made me go back. It made me really go back in time to make amends with that little girl and apologize to my childhood self and say, come on,
Yeah.
girl, we got things to do. Like, instead of sitting
Yeah.
her in a corner, basically getting her
Yeah.
out that corner. Stop crying, girl. We back. I'm here to pick you up and take you with me. You're no longer
Yeah.
sitting in a corner. You're no longer feeling inadequate. You're no longer less than. You're loved. You're
Yeah.
a child of the Most High God. You're a queen. Like literally going back and getting back on my throne. And I literally went and I took that little girl in every age and stage and literally got all
Wow.
of them. I rounded them up. I'm like, come on, ladies, let's go. We got work to do. But it felt good to my
Yeah.
soul because I remember when I was on my journey, I remember being in a place in like 2015 and I was looking at that lost girl and I remember saying, I want to smile like her. I want to smile with her again with
Oh,
the buck teeth and the dimples. You know, I didn't
yeah.
care about my buck teeth. Like I want to smile like that.
Yeah.
And seeing her, you know, and rounding them up and then being in the present right now is joyful because
Yeah.
I made amends with her. She's no longer feeling inadequate. She's no longer sitting in the corner. She's back in her proper position, which is on her throne. And I believe that
That's good.
that helped me with my childhood trauma because it wasn't that bad. It wasn't at
Yeah.
all, and it's not still. Even looking at that girl and thinking like, damn, I had to lose my parent to come back and look at you. But really, it was a full circle moment. I had to because I was
Mm-hmm.
evolving. Something was a dead end. Something was ending in my life that was going to help me level me to the next level. And I had
Mm-hmm.
to make amends with my childhood self. A lot of us don't want to go back to our childhood trauma or the place that brought us pain and hurt. But sometimes we need to go back there and love on ourselves and give ourselves a hug and kiss ourselves and let
Mm-hmm.
ourselves know like it's not bad and that you're okay now and that it's easy to go back and get that person, that little girl, that little boy and say, come on, like we got work to do.
Yeah.
Pulling them to the future, going back to the future
Yeah.
to pull them to the present and to the future where they going. Because we
Yeah.
would never be our whole self if we don't deal with our childhood self. Because
Right.
we need that childlike spirit to
Mm-hmm.
move forward in life. That's how we able to communicate with God, our source. We have to
Yeah.
have a childlike spirit, but
Yeah.
if our childlike spirit is still damaged, how
Mm-hmm.
can we relate, So that's
Yeah.
the present moment with me as far as life and what life looks like. Um, Life is still fuzzy. Of course, I'm not gonna lie, life is still fuzzy. Um, but one thing I will say, God left me. I thought He was punishing me, or He did something to me, but really He was preparing me. And one of the things that God did, it made me trust Him solely and fully because that's all I have. And that's all
Mm-hmm.
I need in this present moment. And it helped me to
Yeah.
know who I was. I'm strong,
Mm-hmm.
and that God is good, and that my I had great parents. Like sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize how dope our parents are until they
Right.
transition or whatever.
Yeah.
But I knew my parents was great, but damn, I had some dope parents, and the fact that they raised me how they raised me, it will be only right for me to stand tall and strong,
Yeah.
in their name, in their memory.
Yeah.
And um God is so good because what I didn't have with my mom, I was able to have with my dad. I was able to have a conversation with my
Right.
dad, and you were there. One of the things that helped me a lot is um, the love my dad had for God. We were
Mm.
literally in a room, and he said, "Mick, we don't know why this is happening. It don't feel good." He knew, like, it don't feel good, but we ain't gonna question it. We ain't
Mm-hmm.
gonna question it. He said, we gonna look towards the hills from which come our help. And he said, and after I leave and your tears are rolling down your face, I want you to look towards the hill from
Wow.
which come your help. And that is what gave me strength. The fact that he was able to tell me that, and in that present moment on you know, transitioning, like we're having
Right.
a real conversation.
Right.
And I believe that really what helped me, that my dad was able to continue to encourage me in the midst of him
Yeah.
dying, in the midst
Right.
of him telling me you're strong, in the midst of him telling me you're gonna be all right. you
Mm-hmm.
know you got this. God ain't doing this to you for no reason. He doing this to you because you can handle it. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It don't feel like it feel this load is heavy. This
Yes.
load is heavy, Lord. It's very heavy, but yet it's still like Job. Though he slay me, yet I will trust him. And
Yeah.
wow, let me tell you something. I be like, God, okay, you know what's been going on. Like I have real conversations with him. Like I
Yeah.
can't. I have to be very clear with God because he knows. But God has kept me so much. He has kept my mind
Mm-hmm.
for 8 months. I haven't went crazy, and I had people say I'm worried about you, and watching me under the microscope. But God has literally
My God.
kept me. I haven't got discouraged. You know what I mean? I have my days where I'm just like, yeah, today ain't the day, Lord. And he like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I'm gonna give you a minute,
Yeah.
But I have literally stared death face to face. I literally understand what Psalms 23 means to me. You know what I mean? Walking through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And you say that things happen in the dark. It does happen in the dark, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't understand the darkness is around us, but you're the light. You're the
Right.
illumination of the darkness. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the only way we're going through it is because the light that you're illuminating that we subconsciously don't know, that's how you're getting through the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Is because you're
You're the light.
illuminating. You're the light. You're
Mm-hmm.
illuminating through that darkness. So I thank God for the light in me. It may not have been bright shining as bright in that dark hour, but it was shining. It
Yeah.
didn't give out,
Yeah.
and the fact that his rod and his staff was comforting me while we were going
Listen.
through, right? That's what I'm saying. While we were going through this journey, because I'm gonna tell you, death and grief is a mug. You know what
Ooh.
I mean?
Yeah.
If I don't know who I'm talking to, if you grieving right now, grief is something, and it could be. We always say grief of of a of a of a loss of a loved one. Grief could be anything, but
Yeah.
especially grief of a loved one. Oh, it's tough. It's hard. Grief
Yeah.
is surgery,
Yeah.
literally, and some people don't recover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people don't recover from grief. You
That's
know what
true.
I mean? Some people
Yeah.
literally have open heart surgery, go to the outpatient, metaphorically speaking, go to the
Yeah.
outpatient and gotta go back to get surgery again, gotta be reopened because they couldn't heal.
Yeah.
They couldn't heal, they bled out. Thank
Yeah.
God I didn't bled out.
Yeah.
Thank God my spirit.
Yeah.
So grief is something, but God. But
But God.
God. But that's all I can
Listen.
say.
But
Literally.
God.
But God, it was only God that has brought me through, that kept me in the present moment, that I haven't gave up. And I thank God for strengthening me. I know. Shout out
Yeah.
to my big sister Quintetta. She live.
Right.
When
Hey,
I
Quinn.
was upset a couple of weeks ago, and I just literally felt like when my parents passed, especially my mom, that all hell broke loose, which it did. But God wasn't testing me; He was using me. He was using me to bring other relationships back together, to do other things. He was using me. So now just feels like I've been out in a battlefield. So now it's
Mm-hmm.
just time to really rest and to hear from him, and to
Mm-hmm.
and to allow him to guide me, not with my
Mm-hmm.
own instinct or anything, but allow him to guide me with his voice, and just believing in what he showed me in 2015 when he showed me face, and still believing
Yeah.
that it's still active and alive today. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe this big transition in my life has really strengthened me and made me strong for whatever God has planned for me. And I just want to be an advocate and says, don't die,
Mm-hmm.
don't give up, don't bleed out,
Mm-hmm.
let the surgery happen, but let's heal. And how do we
Yeah.
heal? We heal with love. We heal with peace. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's
So,
it's true. And the people around you, like you said a mouthful in that. Like I'm gonna just tell you what I got. Like, because I think it's so good, and I do believe people are gonna receive from this. But how dead ends, um, well, you're calling them transitions, but dead ends will lead you to a place of transition.
mm-hmm,
You have no choice but to do that. But what they make you do, though, which what I love that you said is like, okay, I'm in literally literally in a place of where I'm at the death of someone while they're transitioning. And so it's the end of what I know it is, what I've known it to be my entire life. And so it has to transform into something different. But in the midst of that, it allowed you to go, because I believe in those spaces, you're in some of those spaces to look at you and to evaluate what's happening with you. And inside of that, it's almost like multiple dead ends are being addressed at that time.
Absolutely.
So you going and collecting all the younger versions of Myeoshe and saying, no, I'm so sorry. Let me deal with you. Let me treat you right now. Let me love on you right now and bring you guys back together and put you in your proper place, bringing other healing to you, but then also changing your perspective and outlook on things, more specifically you and who you are, and reminding you of who you are. So that way he could say, all right, now I'm going to give you other things, because now we're going to have to also deal with the transition of the lifestyle that you knew of being on this planet with two living parents has now come to an end.
Yeah.
And now it's the rebirth. It's the birth of Myeoshe, who is new. We don't know who this Myeoshe is. And you being in a space of, part of that had to be you aligning the old one with who the new one is.
Yeah.
And then saying, okay, now let's go forward in this. Not that you had a choice. Well, actually you did. You had a choice. You could have sat down, like you said, to your point. Grief can make you sit down and just be like, it doesn't make you, but you can choose to partner with it in the sense of allowing it to not move you forward.
Right.
And no fault to anyone who's ever done that. I get it. There are definitely times where I've had the loss of loved ones where I was like, I'm about to sit down because I don't know. I don't know what this thing called life is. Like, what? I remember when my brother passed, going to church and looking at people walking into church, because I still had to minister to the youth. It was my day to teach. And he had gotten killed hours before. And I'm sitting there looking out the window and I'm watching people. I'm trying to hold it together. I don't need the kids to know, whatever. And I'm watching people walk to church, and I'm like, into one church. And I was like, it felt like an outer body experience. I'm like, what is life? Like, you see these people, we go into church every Sunday and then we leave and then we go to work. I'm like, it's like we're cattle. But what is this? Why are we even here? Who cares? Like, was anything that we ever did meaningful? Why are we even here? He's gone and is never coming back. Was it worth us being like, I just had this whole thing and I'm like, I don't know. I want to sit down. And it's funny, I heard him say, no, you don't get to sit down.
Yeah.
And like, I know you know that with your parents too. Like, no, you don't get to sit down.
No,
this is not your time to sit down. So you're like, but my heart is open. It's like literally ripped open, and somebody then snatched it out. And I don't even know I don't know what way is up, down. So I don't know any directions here. And in that space though, you being brave enough to still say, I'm going to move forward in whatever it looks like, I think that speaks volumes about you, and just definitely not letting it stop you from becoming the design that God always intended you to be. And I think what you've been able to do with grief, because grief is I was listening to somebody today. It's like like for you were grieving before, with your mom. But then if you speak specifically to your dad, the moment you found out he's not gone, grief already started happening. Because, and that's a different space than the grief of when the transition actually happens.
Right.
And then the grief after. It's
different.
3 different stages, and you're like, I don't, and to be able to really still move through that. And I'm a believer, and people can say whatever they want, because I know I discussed this with you. I think when you lose someone, you grieve for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I personally think that it just depends on what your grief looks like. Like, I can still say that I still, because I talked to you about that. I still grieve my grandfather.
Yeah.
I was literally sitting outside the other day doing something and started bawling my eyes out.
Right.
Mind you, he passed what, in 97.
Mm.
Do the math. But I'm
Yeah.
crying as if it happened today and was so butthurt and in my feelings. And I don't think that will, it's far and few between now, and I don't think that'll ever go away, but you just physically miss that person. And I think
Yeah.
how you choose to partner with grief in that. And I think it's okay to have those moments because it's true. I
Yeah.
really do miss you.
Right. And we're
And I
human.
wish you were here. Right.
And we're human. I think some people think like, oh, I can't cry. I cry.
No, listen,
A
I remember
song may
telling you,
come
you need to
on.
cry.
Right.
Yeah.
A song may come on. Matter of fact, Maze, Frankie and Beverly and Maze came on. Golden Time
Yeah.
of Day. My mom's favorite. Girl, water. Couldn't stop it. They were just running. But at the same time, when things like that happen, it'd be like she's sending a message to me, like she's here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hummingbirds. My dad said he was gonna come to me back as a hummingbird. Sing two today. And I've been missing them. I've been thinking about them. Tears start running down my face. Grief is a mother, and I think people that can't handle grief. I remember going back. I remember when I first found out that my mom passed, and I'm a strong person. Like, I'm not a crier. I'm not none of that. I'm always trying to be tough. And I remember telling myself, yeah, you can do this. Yeah, you can do this. And I remember like days going by and I'm like, no, you cannot do this. This is a lifelong thing. I believe people need to talk to people. People need to get help. People don't just need to say, no, I'm fine. No, you need to talk to someone, whether it be somebody, in a licensed field, or just having a friend that you could confide in and vent to, but you have to talk to someone. You
Yeah.
have to. It's even me going through it. I have to have a outlet.
Yeah.
I have to have an outlet. But
Yeah.
grief, like you said, it's something that my heart is broken. It's things that I'm pretty sure God was saying, to heal it. But as far as now, I just feel like, two broken pieces. Of course, I feel like half my existence is here and half my existence is in heaven. But I also know there's life after death too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the great thing. I don't believe, death, that's the end all be all. So
Mm-hmm.
I do have the remembrance. Like, I'm able to communicate with my parents. They're just in a different realm than I am, and they're still working for me in it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end, it's just that the physical part, the
Mm-hmm.
part where you can get your phone and just call, and you can just pull
Yeah.
up on them.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that. You know I was telling my friends the other day, like, I miss, like, my mama calling me, like, you got off of work at 1:30, it's 4 o'clock. Where are you at? Like, you miss that. You miss it. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I'm able to say to my friends, I had a friend the other day, my homeboy, it was his birthday, and his dad called him, and he was just talking to me. He's like, yeah, I ignored him through it. And I told him, like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I wish my mama or my daddy could call me right now. Like, and then when you hit people with it, it's like, dang, like, yeah, don't do
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Don't, like, I wish my mom and dad will call me right now. Like, don't do that,
Yeah.
because it's going to be at a point in your time where you're going to want them to call and they're not going to be able to. So he was
It's
like, you're
true.
right. I'm like, yeah, call your dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to be real about it. But yeah, grief is something, man. Grief is something. I remember being transparent with you and saying that when it first happened, I remember, thinking like, why her mama couldn't go? Why mom, why
Mm-hmm.
my mom could, my mom had
Mm-hmm.
to go, or
Mm-hmm.
having friends that don't have a good relationship with their mom. But,
Yeah.
God has his reasons and his seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But God is real. And that's the only
He
thing that
is.
literally has kept me this whole time in this dead end of my life. And this literally whole new transformation is God keeping my mind. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And literally keeping my mind and the people. It's been
Mm-hmm.
a nice village sized people that still check up on me to this day, still reach out to me. And that's the love that keeps
Yeah.
me going, keeps me fueled daily,
Mm-hmm.
daily. And the love that my parents had for me. They were two very strong individuals. So I know that I have that in me. But when God give you a dead end, boy, it ain't pretty. It
It's
sure
not.
ain't pretty. And if you ain't not got no car, and if you on 2 foot and 10 toes, it really ain't pretty. You know?
It's not. It's not. But what I can tell, it don't matter if wherever you are, you
Mm,
can get through it
yeah,
if you put your mind to it. And I know
absolutely.
there's times in it where you feel like I literally am gonna die right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people all the time, if you got to slow it down to a crawl, get on your hands and knees and
Yeah,
crawl, but just don't lay down. Like,
yeah,
just put one foot. And then there's those days, like you said, where it's like, I ain't got it. And truth be told, we don't have it any days. You know what
yeah,
I mean? But there's days, guys, he'll give you the mindset like, you got it. You're like, cool, I got this. But in all honesty, we ain't got it if we don't, if it's without him.
yeah,
We would literally go crazy if we didn't have him, you know. And what I love about yours is that it develops, and I guess it's maybe what I'm learning in as I'm as I'm learning about dead ends. Dead ends literally, I don't want to say force you, but when you choose to work, when you choose to actually sit in them and do them, it literally forces your relationship or allows your relationship
mm-hmm.
to go deeper with him. And I
Yeah,
think ultimately that's what's needed for you to get to the next level. Whether your dead end is, like you said, I had to deal with fear. That was one of the dead ends that was in this as well, in learning how to deal with fear in a new space. You're a
mm-hmm.
new person. So fear, you like, I'm afraid, all right, but I still got to go through this.
Yeah,
But it's going to hit you differently. Whether
mm-hmm.
your dead end is anxiety, or we spoke a couple of weeks ago about avoidance. So many of us avoid so many things, and God is like you said, now I got to force your hand to bring you
Yeah,
to this dead end because you've been avoiding all this stuff, and I can't do nothing with you because you keep running from stuff.
mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, it's still in the midst of that. I think the base of it is like, God is like, I'm trying to develop a deeper relationship with you and grow our roots of trust.
Yeah,
So that way you understand that I'm your source of everything, no matter what it is. I don't care. Money, we need money to function on this planet. We know that.
yeah,
We need food. We need water. We need, we don't need a roof over our heads, but it makes things a lot easier.
yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Um, and he's like, regardless of all these things that society and the world will make you think you need, you don't need any of it. You need me.
Yeah,
I'm the base of it all. And these
yeah,
dead ends will bring you to this remembrance of, remember me. And if you think of, even like, I remember TD Jakes said this, you think about what remember is, like a member means to join.
mm-hmm.
And so means to do it again. So I'm rejoining
Mm-hmm.
where we were in our relationship. And sometimes, because life happens, your relationship can be in different places, and God is like, no, I need you to remember
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
And now I'm going to help you get, because you need me in a different space to get you to wherever you're going in this next level. And dead ends have a way of definitely doing that.
absolutely.
And I think you're right with people. You gotta bring the right people around you, or to you, to be around you for a specific time. And I know something that I know we had talked about is that also in those times, God will remove people.
Yeah,
Let them go.
yeah, because when situations happen in your life, especially in dark hour, God, not only is this situation happen, but God's showing you who your village is, who really your
Listen.
village is, who your support system is. And
Yep.
once he show you who really got your back in dark times and who don't got your back, don't be naive to it.
Mm-hmm.
We could be in a situation, we could be vulnerable, but
Yep.
no, God is showing you that person in the dark hour really ain't got your back. They got your back when it's all good and gravy. But
Mm-hmm.
really, it's the people in the dark hour that have your back is who you need to cherish. And God will show you exactly who they are. God literally remove people out of my life and showed me people, and I was just mind blown, like, Lord, wow. And he was like, yeah, but everybody can't go with you. And that's what I'm starting to understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
it may hurt, it doesn't feel good. You guys have this great relationship, and it doesn't always have to be like a bad thing. Like,
Right.
some
Right.
relationships just have to end. You outgrown that person,
Yeah.
mentally. You might have more, knowledge and wisdom than they have. So it's time to end that one-on-one, one-on-one, whatever, and get on to 103, 104. It's like, it's levels to everybody. It's not going to be with you throughout your whole life. I think we
Yeah.
get complacent and we get comfortable. Oh,
Ooh.
that's my best friend. Oh, that's my cousin, that's my sister, that's my mentor. I've been knowing them for 20, and then we put time. I've been knowing them for 25 years. Okay, but 25 years is not the same right now
It's
in 2022.
not.
Sometimes 25 years just need to be cut off because God is
Yep.
taking you somewhere new. And you
Woo.
have to understand, sometimes people are not evolving in the same way you're evolving mentally and spiritually. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So
Yep.
it's okay to let people go. And sometimes God just wants the blessing to be just for you because he know what type of heart you got. And if he give you this
Yeah.
blessing, he know you're going to bless the wrong people.
Listen.
So literally. So you
It's
just have
true.
to be aware, and ask God to reveal who people are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And to allow you to see, because sometimes we could be blinded by
Mm-hmm.
some things. So we have to listen to our intuition and listen to God. But when he does show you who people are, let them go. Don't
Yeah.
feel entitlement and the time
Or
that you
obligated.
invested and
Mm-hmm.
obligated, and feel like you invested all this amount of time. There's no way that you could start all over. Trust me, you're going to meet somebody today and they're going to be your friend for a year, and it's going to feel like you've known them for 25 years. You're going to meet
Listen.
somebody today, they're going to be doing things that your 25-year friendship didn't do for you in this 6 month. You know what I mean? Because people are
Yeah.
not operating from the same heart space that you are. And
Right.
God needs to, when you vibrate on a different level, you send that vibration out and you attract who you are. So
Yeah.
sometimes when things are happening, is allowing the stuff to fall off, the times and seasons, like the trees. As we can see, times and seasons. The seasons is changing, leaves is falling off the trees because it needs new
Yeah.
ones to come in. So
Yeah.
allow your tree to fall so that new leaves could come in, So
Agreed.
I believe
Agreed.
I believe in that wholeheartedly. I believe in this new transformation of my life. One of the things I told God that I want to resemble from now until the end is, when people see me, I want them to see love. I want them
Mm-hmm.
to see light. I want them to see truth, and I want them to see righteousness. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I want. When people see me, I want them
Mm-hmm.
to see love. I want them to feel love. I
Yeah.
want love when I speak to them, love be spoken all over them, be
Yeah.
wrapped in that. I want them
Yeah.
to see light, that when they leave, a little light be sprinkled on them. Like, that's what I want. I want them to see truth.
Mm.
And when I see that, see God,
Yeah.
see that, wow, the truth healed her. Yeah, the truth did heal me, which is
Mm-hmm.
God, because I was able to go face to face with him and say, hey, this don't feel good, and be honest and truthful with him.
Yeah.
And
That's
I,
really important.
right. And I want them to see righteousness. I want them to see my heart is upright and right.
Mm-hmm.
It has justice. It has a balance. It's black and white, no gray areas. So
Yeah.
that's the mantra of what I want, people to see me. It's kind of funny
Yeah.
because I was thinking about it the other day when I was going through my books. I used to read Ayana in the meantime. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember at the end of her book, she had this affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Love is what I am. Love is what I give. Love is what I receive. And I remember always quoting that, back in the day. And I thought to myself, let everything that came out of my mouth, that I spoke over my life, that was prosperity and abundance, let it be still active and alive today as it was back then, and moving forward.
Mm. Yeah. That's
So
good.
that's what I want to be. I want my life to resemble love. And if
Yeah.
God is love, then that's all I want,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for me. So that's my
Yeah.
prayer for you guys as well, is allow love to, come over you and change you and uplift
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
and bring you to a place where you can surrender if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't. And it brings you to a place where you feel peaceful and you feel okay with what's going on around you.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I come in agreement with that. And when that happens, just
Mm.
to little nuggets, love doesn't just come like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you got it.
Yeah.
It's just like with anything else. God gives you opportunities for you to walk in love, for you to become what you're
Mm.
asking for.
Right.
So if you don't know what love is, and I know, and I didn't necessarily know, we all come to know what love is based on our relationships from when we were born. People
Mm-hmm.
say, I love you. So that's what we attribute and define how love is. But when you get with God and you allow God the space to really love you and pour into you, you find out really what it is and what it actually looks like, you know, it looking like you serving
Mm-hmm.
your enemy that has just talked crazy about you and said, you ain't nothing, blah, 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 blah.
Child.
And God is like, okay, you said you wanted love. Go be love. So you have to now, he's like, I want you to go serve them. Serve them what? Serve them however he's saying, whether it's, I want you to wash their car. I want you to walk their dog. I want you to speak kind things over them. I want you to pray over them. I want you to give
Child.
them $1 million. I don't know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but God will, he's like, okay, you want it. You want to be that. You have opportunities to be that.
Yeah.
And that grows your capacity for love and to walk in that. It's being patient when somebody is getting you like, could you hurry up? I got somewhere I
Mm.
gotta go. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. People who live out here, listen, the traffic out here is real. God gets me every single time because I'm for sure cussing somebody out. And he's like, really? What about you being patient? Love
Yeah.
is patient. I'm like, yeah, but you see these people, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm like, you're right, you're right. You know, love is kind. Do you just step over the homeless person that you see?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe God isn't saying give them money, but maybe God is saying have a conversation with them because how many people have actually stopped and talked to them for the day
Right.
and acknowledge that they're a human being and that they exist?
Right.
Maybe God's saying, I want you to go be kind to them because I want you to be my my hands extended
Mm.
because I'm love. Because what if God says, I want you to hug this homeless person? And you're like, oh my God, they're dirty, they stink, they this and that. But he's like, you don't know what they prayed.
Yeah.
You don't know if they said, God, I need to know that you're real. And this is how I need you to show up. I need you to
Yeah.
send somebody to give me a hug. Otherwise, I'm taking my life. And you hear the voice, but you're like, oh, that ain't God talking to me. So you ignore
Yeah.
it. You're going to be held accountable. Like these are things like, and I said, give these examples because these are things that I think a lot of people don't know. I didn't know and didn't understand until God was like, let me show you some things. And so
Mm.
when you pray for things like that, you got to understand your life is about to get real stressed
Oh, oh, not real
and
stress,
real pressed. Let me not
real
say
pressed
stressed
and
because I'm
real
not
tested
real
and real
pressed and
tested.
tested. You know what I mean? Think of yourself as a grape being pressed in that
Ooh,
wine press because
Jesus,
he's
take
definitely trying to
the
turn you into wine.
girl, take the wheel.
So, you know, and I get because that has been me. And I'm like, oh, Lord, you really okay? You know what? I'm just going to say, okay. Even when I know I don't have it in me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, all right, God, you don't have to do it because I ain't got it in me. And he always figures it out. He always adjusts my attitude because
Yeah.
you can ask my mother, I was the queen, attitude B. Oh my God. He's like, you're going to get that together. You know, so if that's something I don't know if a lot of people realize a lot of stuff that we pray for brings pressure in our lives for us to become what it is. Because what we're used to, what we're familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
is not going to grow us anymore. It's
That is
you
so true.
need to burn. That's so funny. I posted a thing on my other page. A pastor at my church was saying she went to a class, a yoga class, and the teacher gave her heavier weights, and she was like, "What are you talking? I can't deal with these weights. These are too heavy."
Uh,
And he's like, "But you're not burning your muscles out." And if you're not burning your muscles out, you're not tearing them enough for them to grow and get stronger. And so if you're not burning your muscles, what are you doing? So I was like, listen, If I'm not feeling the burn, if I'm not feeling the
Right.
pressure, if I'm not feeling the uncomfortability, there's a difference between pain and uncomfortability. And we have to learn to decipher between the two. If I'm not feeling that and burning out my muscle where I feel like I can't do not one other push up, I'm not going to be able to do it. My muscles are too weak. You're not growing. You're not giving yourself the space to create more capacity for
Right.
you to become and for God to give you what you're asking for. You
Right.
have to do the work. And it's not for the faint at heart. So I encourage everybody, listen, you're not alone. We're all in these boats
Woo!
together.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Listen, and it's okay to tell him, I don't like this,
Oh,
but
just to
don't
give
stop doing it.
right, give an example. It's so funny, and you don't know what people are going through too.
You don't.
Quick example. Yesterday, I was in a meeting, and it was this older lady, and she was giving funk. She was getting funky vibes, and I had a conversation. I was making my coffee. I said, "Lord." And I ain't gonna be getting too many darts thrown at me. It's too many funky vibes. I need you to do something. He was like, Myeoshe, relax. Take a seat back. I'm like, okay, it ain't gonna be too many. It ain't gonna be too many darts. You know how I am. I'm
Right.
going through stuff,
Right.
or whatever. So we were in a meeting, and if you listen to people, she was mentioning in the meeting that one of the things her mother had went somewhere to a facility, and she felt more comfortable at the facility than home, and she passed away at the facility. And when she said that, she said, I still haven't gotten over that. So immediately when she said that, it was like, ding, okay, you're dealing with regret, you're dealing with guilt, you're dealing with, okay, so that's when I start having compassion towards her. Like, she didn't know I had this conversation with God, because I was telling God, hey, you better check her. But the fact that God told me to relax or whatever, and he showed me why this individual was acting the way that they were acting, even though they don't know, but I knew. So for her to say that, number one, it made me have compassion towards her, because I felt her, because I just lost a parent, a mother. Two, I had empathy towards her, because I know that probably ain't easy if you're dealing with guilt and regret.
Right.
And then I guess I start exhilarating energy of love towards her. She started giving me eye contact. Her energy starts changing. So sometimes it always starts with us. Sometimes we have to
It
be
always
aware of
does.
self. You know what I mean? And then when we listen and we understand, okay, that's why they acting. We start to have more compassion and empathy towards people. Was I always like this? No, but I thank God I was able to listen and aware, and I was able to show empathy towards her and show love, because that's what I've been praying for. So I want to be a light, and I want to resemble love. So I had to fall back, and then I was able to listen. Oh, that's why she's hurt. Maybe that may not have been an end all be all, but that was one of the things I heard, and I was able to relate and show empathy and compassion towards her. So sometimes God will reveal to you why this person is who they are, if you would just listen and pay attention and get
ask.
ask and get out your own way, and don't deal and don't act out of ego and emotions.
Listen, raising your EQ. Okay. We all talk about this IQ. I say it on here almost every Thursday. Your EQ is on you to raise your emotional quotient. Get it together. We have to mature, especially us as ladies. The power that we have to be able to uplift our sisters and our brothers, okay, and spouses and all that other stuff is so great. Think about where we came from. Okay, we are the helpmate, but even to each other. Ribs, the rib is no feet. Like, think about what your rib cage encases. All your vital organs. Imagine you walking around without no rib cage. You really gonna be living?
Oh, we.
Exactly. So that lets you already know the strength that we have inside of us. But in order for us to be in our proper places, we got to get that together. We can't be going over here shooting each other up and being like, well, we're expecting all these things from God. Well, everybody's a child of God. So just because you don't get along with this person, this, that, and the third, whatever, doesn't mean they're not a child. You still should treat them accordingly. And to your point, I agree with you. Ask God, What is it about this person? That's one thing that I used to pray. I was like, God, you got to give me your eyes, because this right here, I'm about to go to my BC days. You know what I mean? Before Christ, because I could care less about this. They are disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, let me show you. And he'll morph you to either they'll reveal it to you, or he'll
Yeah.
actually give you the eyes to see that person, that 30-something-year-old person that's standing in front of you is actually a 5-year-old molested child,
Wow. Yeah.
or is a 10-year-old trafficked kid, or someone, an 8-year-old who was physically abused. Like, and once you see that, then you're like, oh, okay, that's actually who's standing in front of me. And they, especially if they never dealt with it, people with temper tantrums 9 times out of 10 are somebody who's haven't dealt with
Yeah.
trauma at
Yeah.
an early age, and that's what you're doing because you're grown. Doing a temper tantrum, they're not. They're physically this age, but what they're giving you is a 5-year. Whatever trauma that they had at whatever age and chose not to deal with it, that is the person you're facing. And you can choose to respond to that,
Mm-hmm.
or you can choose to treat it however God is guiding you to at this age. Like, oh, okay, you're a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Like you said, that woman, I can imagine that my mom is never coming back. Never. I can't make amends for this. She's never going to feel comfortable. I know that this is, how do I make that better? You know what I mean? The only way for her to, like, she's going to have to let that go and allow God's love and forgiveness
Yeah.
to change her. Otherwise, she's going to always keep it with her, if that makes sense. And you being his hands extended helps to love that down, and helps to, like I said, love heaps burning coals on the heads of our enemies. It's got to burn off something.
Yeah.
It's going to burn down all that ugly. I don't care what you say. And I'm not loving you for reciprocity because of what you give me. I don't need your love because I got this guy right here. And as long as he continues to pour into me, I can love you with the overflow.
Yeah,
as long as
absolutely.
I stay in him, you know what I mean? So I'm not coming to you saying like, I need your love me. You know what I mean? So now I can love you properly. But a lot of people don't know how to love properly.
Yeah.
And they're loving for reciprocity. Like, you must love me back. I'm giving you this compliment, so you give me back one.
Right.
I don't need that. I'm good. God told me I was great. I'm God's kid. So, I'm over here with my little ice cream, just dancing. I'm God, you eat something good and you like, oh, I'm God's kid, or what? You just singing. That's how I think when I'm like, God really loves me. I'm somebody special. I'm somebody's child.
Absolutely.
Somebody's child. So, so I know it's 8:13. Is there, girl, is there anything you want to share with us, what you have going on, how we can support you and love on you and allow our love to be your currency?
Of course, always grown our business that we have, our financial literacy business, grown. It stands for Generational Revolutionary Owners Winning Numbers. And we're teaching personal development, wealth, finance, and business. So always support, continue to stay keyed and locked in. Jaya Legacy and Faith Saves. Continue to support Face, my nonprofit at Face Saves. Continue to support me on Killer Priest Podcraft on Mondays and Wednesdays night at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Continue to support me on
Where is that? Is that on Spotify or YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay.
Continue to support me on that platform on YouTube, Killer Priest Podcraft. Continue to support my nonprofit, Faith Saves. Continue to support Grown at Grown Academy and also at Jaya Legacy at Faith Saves. Continue to support Compton Black Exchange every third Saturday. I will be there helping, supporting every third Saturday. So shout out to Compton Black Exchange. And just continue to keep me in your prayers. I always need the prayers. I always need the love as well as I'm praying for you. And let's just continue to lift each and every one up because we're all dealing with something. And that's what God put us here for, to help each other up. So just continue to keep me close in your hearts and in your minds.
Listen, we got you, boo. We
And
got
continue
you.
to support Love is My Currency. If you need
Oh, you're too
your money
sweet.
up and your coins up and your tokens up in love, you know where to come at. Tune in, dial in
Listen,
every Thursday at 7 p.m. Support my
come on, plug.
sister.
Come on, plug. Listen, if y'all like this video, listen, follow us, like it, and share it. Because I know there's someone who needs to hear
Yeah.
all of this. You know, someone who's been grieving, you know, someone who's come to dead ends, someone who needs to address them and just needs the support and help. Send them this video, share it with them, follow us, follow my sister. Again, she said it, Face Saves. Also, I Am Face. That's her
Oh, yeah.
personal page. Follow both. And the Killer Priest podcast on YouTube. We're going to do that. And in terms of, listen, because we both own nonprofits, so I'm just going to say this, donate. Okay? Because we all need money. And if you don't have the money to donate, what you can do is make people aware of what is happening. She has an incredible nonprofit that serves youth and young ones, and really being able to tap into them and helping them find out who they are and supporting who they are, especially here in Los Angeles. And we know the the health of our nation lies in our youth. Yeah. And how many people are picking up the mantle to really service them and love on them and pour into them, you know, and it's coming from a true space. And so she is one of the people, and her organization is doing that. So give money, make people aware of it. Or if you know people who have big money and they need to donate, listen, it's a tax write-off if you want to look at it that way. Give money. Okay? It's facesaves.org. You can donate on there. She does have a donate button. There's no amount that is too small. So just know you're paying it forward. You can literally save a life by the money that you're giving and you're pouring into. So do yourself that favor and sow into them. I thank you.
Thank you.
And I love you, and
I
appreciate
love you so much. I love you too.
Listen, for being open and vulnerable and sharing. I love this talk. I knew God was going to do something different. I knew he was. Y'all, I didn't go through none of them questions, okay? But I appreciate you. I love you. I'm so blessed that God gave me you, and we doing life together.
Yeah, real life together.
Listen, real life. Okay. And anything I can do to support you, know I got your back and love on you. So I just want to thank you. I'm honored. You know, I'm gonna always. Will you come back?
Yeah, always.
I don't know when.
I'm always supporting. Listen, anytime that I can share my truth and my honesty, trust me, I'm here. That's my calling. That's what I'm here to do, just to be truthful and honest, so that somebody else can be liberated just as much as I was liberated, you know? So
okay.
It's no platform too small or too big for me.
Okay. Well, okay. Remember, y'all, we're going to hold her to that, okay? Because when she over here speaking to all these people and she's on all these big stages and on people's couches.
Daddy told me don't despise small beginnings.
Listen, and we're not going to be small at that point either, but still, we're going to have her come back, you know? Because I got some ideas and stuff coming up that I would love to have you a part of, so.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I think you have some amazing gifts to give.
I want to leave with my favorite quote by William Shakespeare, and I love it. It says, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. I want you guys to think on that, let that meditate on your heart, because we all have greatness. It's just a different form of how it's presented to us. And I believe mine was just thrust upon me. And that's by William Shakespeare. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Let that meditate on your heart and your mind for tonight, and know that you're great, whether you were born with it, whether you achieve it, or whether it was just on you.
Amen. Listen, I concur. All right, text me that, because I want to use that as the caption.
Okay.
For as I post this.
Okay, for sure.
I love you. Thank y'all.
I love you more. Good night, everyone.
Good night. See y'all next week, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Love is my currency.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Bye.